Hello YouTube, Robert Alvarez, the Psychic Witch, also known as Mr. Lighting and a Fan. And I want to talk about a few different things, but first I'm going to have Drake, more commonly known as my awesome audio-visual person for my YouTube videos, do a close-up of my pendant. This is the pendant that I only wear when the sun is in Pisces. I gave it to my personal mother goddess, the goddess more commonly known as Isis, several years ago. It is on my altar for her, but she has told me I can wear it whenever I want. I respectfully wear it only when the sun is in Pisces. I call it the commander because it commands attention. The top crystal, the top gemstone is a blue topaz, and this of course is an amethyst. And the amethyst I love especially because it is roughly 3 to 4 times larger than the blue topaz. And now that the sun is in Pisces, I'm wearing this pendant for the time being. Anyway, so as some of you know, I have become more involved in book kind of social media. So Bookstagram. I haven't spent that much time on TikTok in general, so I haven't even perused BookTok. And although I have experienced BookTok, because this year so far I've been to a few bookstores, both chain bookstores and independent booksellers, that have had BookTok listings on some of the shelves and on some of the books. So I have an idea. And I do follow some Bookstagrammers on Instagram specifically. But I want to talk about the 3 apps that I use for book stuff. So first we have Goodreads. Now Goodreads I only use as the desktop. I don't have it on my phone, but I only use it on my desktop computer. And basically Goodreads is excellent for keeping track of one's progress. And of course, what I love about Goodreads is that it also has a lot of different articles. Like February's Black History Month, so of course there are some great books to read in honor of Black History Month on different genres, not just, let's say, historical fiction or urban fiction or science fiction and fantasy or romantasy or what have you, but a lot of different genres, including nonfiction, of course. And so one thing that I do not like about Goodreads is that it is tied to Amazon. Because now it's basically like if you have a book that you want to read on your Amazon wish list, there will be a link for you to buy it. And I'm like, okay, well, I don't need to do that, but thank you. And personally, when it comes to certain authors, especially people of color, Black people, people of color, indigenous people, members of the LGBTQ+ community, I would rather buy their books directly from them as opposed to Amazon.com or from an appropriate bookstore. Like if I wanted to buy a book written by Kennedy Ryan, I would want to go to an independent bookseller, or I would want to go to a Black woman-owned or a Black man-owned or a Black family-owned bookshop, or I would want to go to a pop-up market featuring a bookseller like Brookhaven Books, who believes in specializing in amplifying voices that are more diverse and more inclusive. And that is exactly what Tara of Brookhaven Books does. She amplifies diverse BIPOC, Black, Indigenous, people of color voices, as well as voices of the LGBTQ+ communities. So yeah, that's my personal preference. And then we have the Story Graph. Now the Story Graph, I kind of found out by accident because there are 2 or 3 people that I follow on Instagram that specialize in Bookstagram type of posts. So I would see some of their posts and I'd be like, where did you find that? How did you do that? And they would say, oh, I do that on the Fable app, or I do that on the Story Graph app. So I was like curious about the Story Graph app. The Story Graph app is a little more user-friendly. It's not as intricate as Goodreads. So basically it's like you mark a book as owned, as opposed to with yours truly, well, I will list the date and the day of the week and the location where I purchased the book. If I purchased it from a website, the name of the website, what kind of a book. If I purchased it from, let's say, thriftbooks.com or betterworldbooks.com. I'll list the condition of the book, if it's brand new, very good, acceptable, etc. And then, of course, I'll list the date that I purchased it, including the time, not the time, the day of the week. If I buy it directly from Bookhaven Books, I'll include that in the description. And then, of course, when I'm doing my reviews, I usually copy and paste from Goodreads to the Storygraph, because I can use the Storygraph on my desktop. That's another convenience, and I do. And then, and the only thing that I don't like about the Storygraph is, actually, I can't think of anything that I do not like about the Storygraph. I think, if anything, sometimes I find that there are books that are absent, or they may be classified differently. Whereas with Goodreads, I can enter the ISBN and it'll tell me exactly which book it is, and even which edition it is. Like if it's a digital edition, if it's an audio edition, if it's a hardcover, a paperback, whatever. And then we have Fable. Now, Fable is not to be confused with the video game, because I remember Drake, more commonly known as my awesome audiovisual person, from my YouTube videos telling me that there is an app, there's a video game called Fable, right? Yeah, there is. But it's not that Fable. It is a different Fable. It is the Fable app for book readers, for book lovers, for book people. And essentially, Fable is a social media network for book readers. So if you love books, if you love reading about books, that is the app for you. And what I've been enjoying about Fable is the social media aspect of it, number one. I've also been enjoying discovering about different clubs, because there are some book clubs. So far, well, to be perfectly honest, there were 2 book clubs that I had joined. Both of them were focusing on, at the time, for February, we're focusing on Fledgling by the late and great Octavia Stell Butler. And then there was no activity by anybody other than me. And I'm like, okay. So, and then I would look to see how many members were listed. It was in the double digits, under 20, but above 10. And I'm like, okay. And then I would see that the last time the moderator was active was 2 days ago, 3 days ago, 5 days ago. And I'm like, why am I sticking around? So I left. I unjoined those 2 book clubs. And I know that things happen, and I know that life happens, and I know that things come up. But, you know, one thing that I'm going to do for me personally is, if I'm going to interact with people, even online, I want there to be some activity. Because I could just, talk to myself all day and, think out loud about the books that I'm reading when I'm by myself, and write notes in a reader's journal or in my personal journal, and I don't need to join a club to do that. So right now I'm taking a break from joining clubs on Fable. No matter if the book is one that I already have or that I'm reading, I'm like, it's okay. But the social media aspect I've been enjoying. I also love the fact that people post their favorite quotes from some of the books. I've done that a few times for myself. I enjoy that a lot, and definitely, that's something that I really dig. So yeah, absolutely. And then those are the only 3 that I have joined, that I have memberships with. Goodreads is free. Fable is free. The Storygraph is paid. They have a free option, but I get more perks with the paid option. And the paid option is not that expensive. In fact, I was actually surprised at how low the price is. At some point, I do need to subscribe for the year, because it'll just be more convenient that way. But I digress. So if you are a member of an online community of book lovers, let me know in the comments which one. Who knows, that might be one that I switch to permanently. You never know. But for right now, I am happy with Goodreads, I'm happy with the Storygraph, and I'm definitely happy with Fable. But I'm open to hearing about others, because there are others out there. Some of them are not as well known, so if you want to spread the word, this is your opportunity to do that. But for now, I want to thank all of the people who are responsible for Goodreads and the Storygraph and Fable, and all of the people who have friended me on all three of those platforms, and also to all of the wonderful book people online and on the internet and on social media for always providing me and so many others with book recommendations. And as I have often said before, and I will often say again, I never need book recommendations, but I am always open to receiving them. And of course, thank you to all of you in YouTubeLand for all the likes, comments, shares, and subscriptions to my YouTube channel. And an extra big and beautiful thank you to those of you who have already scheduled your sessions. I wish all of you a beautiful night and a wonderful week, and as always, stay in tune with your intuition, stay safe, stay well, stay hydrated, don't fuck fascists, and stay tuned for the next video.